I took Ein to the vet. He's over there, by the way. Got not the greatest news. I mean, I've known for a while that was kind of his time was short. Last year they gave him 6 months, was what they said. That was over a year ago, so it's been, I guess I can't complain since he's been around this long, and, the vet was surprised that he was still here and whatnot. He's chasing mosquitoes right now. But yeah, the weird thing is, like, the only good news today was he's not anemic, which, on top of everything else, kidney failure and, what was it, white blood cell high. He's got, 2 different kinds of cancer. One's testicular, which, even though he was fixed, I guess the vet that did it didn't go to count to 2 day. I don't know about that, but it's, kind of sucks. Obviously, there's, I'm not very litigious, but there's times I just want to go and figure out what vet did that and punch him in the face, but that wouldn't really solve anything, now would it? It's one of those days where I just, or where one feels like going out and finding someone being an asshole and punching them in the face. Yeah. I mean, his quality of life's pretty good, so I guess, it's one thing. It's just hard, dogs are, well, cats too. They're these finite creatures with an infinite amount of love to give you, and damn if it doesn't hurt when they go. And I'm glad he's not suffering. He's running around doing all this goofy stuff. He sleeps more, obviously, because he's old, but there's a few outward signs, but nothing as far as like his attitude, things like that. He eats, he sleeps, he does dog things, and acts like a dog. So, and what else are you gonna do? I give him painkillers, things like that, make him comfortable, and when you start showing different signs, I'll searching out like home euthanization options. Yeah, that's a thing, because he hates going to the vet, and the thought of taking him to somewhere he's terrified of as his last thing, I don't know, I guess that bugs me. Sentimentalist in me. Tonight I'm drinking my, I don't know, old timers home favorite, grapefruit and vodka. It's pretty good. Yeah, that's been weighing on me a lot, and obviously I've shed some tears today over it, and, Ein came into my life right after, or I can't remember the time frame, but we put my dog down. I had her since I was 7, and it was when I was 22, so, obviously quite a few years ago, but, Daisy was the dog that, she kind of discovered a benign tumor on me, and by discovering that tumor led, to my lymphoma diagnosis, things like that. So she didn't really like me that much, and then, all of a sudden when I was sick, and I guess she knew I needed her, she kind of became my buddy, my dog. And it was kind of a different experience, because she'd always been like my mom's dog up until then. So I had a great bond with her, and it was just kind of different that, after so many years in her life, it changed. And I got Ein in 2005, but it was right after, it was a year after, but it was pretty rough on me. My best friend, Winston, shot himself, and, I didn't have a dog, and it was really tough. I'd gotten used to that kind of kinship, in a way that growing up really didn't, I love my dog and whatnot, but up until that point I didn't really get it. And Ein is, came at a time when I was having panic and anxiety attacks and things like that, and, something to focus on and take care of, and, he's always been like my little dude, and been there through a lot, and he's kind of kept me going in a lot of ways. And then 2012, when I was laid off, I switched careers from Napa, and I got promoted to where I always wanted to be there, but I had this other opportunity I wanted to take, and I got laid off from, I worked at it for a year, did my best, and You know, unfortunately, it just didn't work out. Shit happens, right? I could have done a lot of things different in hindsight, as far as different communication methods, you know, things aren't working, things like that. I just kind of was comfortable, lackadaisical about things. You know, it was written up in August, and it was in November, pretty much 1 year to the date I got laid off, so it was kind of fucked up. But shortly after that, my niece was born, and that's been kind of a sustaining thing. Being an uncle has been pretty awesome. A lot of that, you know, I've posted an article on Facebook. I'm in the gray area. It's like when you're suicidal but you don't want to die, and it's been a reality for me for a long time. A lot of people, you know, they'll either get it or they won't. Trying to explain different aspects of that to people has never really been very enjoyable, obviously, because someone that doesn't know it won't ever really get it. Same thing with anxiety. You know, I can't explain. I guess there's Bravest Warriors said it best. It's like trying to stir diarrhea with your dog's sense of humor. It's paradoxical, and you really can't do it. If someone doesn't understand depression, they're not going to. And for a lot of years, I was over-medicated on a lot of different things. When I had cancer, they put me on stuff, and I don't know when the realization happened that the amplification of suicidal thought definitely happened because of antidepressants. But around 2008, I realized that, and that was one of the ones that has like a worse trigger symptom. Is it's a generic form of Zoloft called Bupetrin, and Prozac did it too, so I switched from that. Anyway, so I figured this out, and I was weaned off of all this different stuff, and, you know, with a psychiatrist, and it was a long process. Like, all of a sudden, I had a lot of feelings where I didn't before, and kind of learning how to live my life, and that was tough. Measurably tough. And when I tell people that, you know, going through cancer, and I had a lot of hardships then, you know, I almost bled to death and drowned in my own blood when I had cancer, but the depression and anxiety and different aspects afterwards were always much more tough to deal with. You know, survivors killed. There were probably 30, 40 people I met, and I can't even recall their names because of how much I didn't want to remember it for so long. You go to so many memorial services and funerals and yada yada. After a while, it just kind of becomes background noise, I guess. But yeah, Einstein came in 2005, and, you know, through a couple of rough years, and you know, a relationship had kind of dissolved that was good. And, you know, he's been kind of this sustaining, goofy force in my life for a long period of time. Just that thing that loves you unconditionally for whatever reason and all your flaws. And damn, if that doesn't fucking hurt like a motherfucker when the thought of that little fuzzy little goofball not being in your life, you know, it's gut-wrenching. You know, when I'm having a shitty day, he'll walk up and he does this thing where with his nose, and he'll flip your hand up to make you pet him, and, you know, he does that normally anyway, but, you know, he'll kind of growl at you and bark and chuff, or whatever you want to call it, and do very fun little things for attention. And he has very much this huge personality, and, you know, it's kind of all corgis do. He's cruising around the deck right now. His big goofy smile, his tongue hanging out and all that, and he's pressing his ears back when I say his name, and I always joke around, and that's him bracing for speed. But yeah, that's how I can define Ein. He's a balancing force in my life of a lot of different things, and, you know, I've got other ones in my life, and just being looked up to and loved by something so holy and, you know, without thought or question is It's kind of nice. And, you know, I'm glad I have that now with my two nieces, Eliza and Clara. They really are this amazing influence in my life, and the thought of not being around for them helps, you know, keep me, sustain me, whatever you want to say. Helps motivate me to change. You know, I don't want to be the uncle that died from being, you know, so overweight it affected his health, things like that. That's one of the big motivators for change in my lifestyle, was my nieces, and, you know, just a couple other things that happened that, I don't know, I guess at one point there's just, you know, it's the straw that broke the camel's back with your motivation, and you say, fuck this, I'm not doing this, this is not sustainable, this is not enjoyable, and you change, you get over your bullshit, and, you know, whatever the bootstraps, whatever the fuck people talk about, and you just do it. You go through life, and I had cheap health insurance. The ACA was a good thing for me, because after having cancer, it's kind of a pain in the ass to try to get covered correctly. And I kind of did the whole matrix, swallow the pill, see how deep the rabbit hole goes with doctor's visits, and sought out every avenue, and I'm still kind of doing that. It's been a job, outside of having other jobs, and, you know, I've been living kind of a bohemian lifestyle with different methods of employment and things like that for the past while, and, you know, definitely not working on the road and driving 5,000 to 7,000 miles a week, testing cell phone towers, or working in mental hospitals and prisons for the state of Georgia. You know, that definitely was a good decision to say, fuck this, I'm not doing IT contracting, because, you know, at my heaviest I was 480 pounds. When I started everything, I was 450. I've lost half of myself since I started. So it's insane to think about. And, you know, I've got more left, and there's been a lot of stress lately. I've been trying to do this career with working on film and set, and you know, it's been a long road. It's something I always wanted to do. It's, you know, you don't do it just for the money. You do it because you love doing it, and that's what I want to. It's just been very tough to make that change, and I've met a lot of really cool people recently, and, you know, I've kind of gotten used to being that lone wolf, like I said, for so long, that being outside of myself and pushing myself to try to have these interactions with people, be encouraging, and say hi, and or not say hi, but just get to know people and talk to them, and you know, put myself out there and be vulnerable, even if it's just like an Instagram friend that says I'm inspirational, and I still don't get that whole thing. I'm just doing me, like, you know, that whole you do you thing. I mean, I guess I am. I guess since it's my day-to-day life and things like that, I don't necessarily see it, but I mean, I'm glad that people are telling me that I'm affecting them and helping them in all these different ways. And, you know, I can't see it, I can't know it, but, you know, I'm glad that I can do that for people, and anything I can do to help along that way, you know, I'm here, comments, Facebook, whatever. I try to make myself available as much as I can, and, you know, it really is not a problem for me. I'm that weirdo that stops for random strangers to help change their tires and all that kind of stuff, so, yeah, I mean, I guess it's just my nature. For me, after having been through cancer treatment, things like that, it makes no sense for me to have gone through so much in life and not be able to try to benefit people. And I'm pretty much sure I'm gonna do a whole nother one of these and talk about that a lot more. And plan on talking about Einstein tonight, but the other thing was I was going to talk about EDC obsession and whatnot. Anyway, you folks have a good one. Bye.